Hey everybody, I'm really excited to be here with the Toyota Certified Collision team. So we got Eric Mendoza and George and Bob McDonald and Mitch and Mike Rice, a lot of good folks from the Toyota team, and here to bring you up to speed on what is happening in the world of Toyota, current events. And so I wanted to just, personally thank each one of you for taking the time. I know this is a crazy time, and so thank you each one of you for being on the call and being on the video cast with me today. So I think what's on the shop's minds a lot right now is, obviously social distancing has been a big thing. There's a bunch of restrictions. How is that affecting, Toyota headquarters and different regions in your manufacturing plants? What are you guys seeing out there in the field right now?
Hey Ryan, this is George Irving. I wanted to first of all, I want to thank everybody that's a certified collision shop for their dedication to taking care of the Toyota customer. We know this is a very unique and this is an unprecedented time to say the least. Um, but this too shall pass, and I think this gives us a real opportunity to improve our operations and to take care of our customers, take care of our employees, and to be better off at the end of this event. And one thing about Toyota, we're always about constantly improving, and this is just another challenge for us. Far as the actual headquarters, um, you know, we had a plan where we were going to work every other day or every other week. Half the people stay home and half the people work from home. Other half work from the office. Well, that lasted for about 6 hours, and so now we're all calling in from different parts of the area, and I think we have North Dallas pretty well covered. So we're going to learn how to work from our homes. And the funniest thing is, I think that we've worked harder from home than we would have been in the office.
Look out, they're going to take the office away from you if you keep doing that. They're going to be
There's less time to shuck and jive and more time to do that. And the regions are hard at it. Yeah. They also are our contact with the dealers in the field. And, the good news is everything around collision is an essential position. And pretty much we've seen that collision shops are, doing robust business through this time. And collision parts and collisions are, they're going to help the dealers survive through all of this, because even in some of the areas where they're starting to close down some sales. So you asked about plants. We ran the plants as long as we could safely run them. And we will close the plants on March 23rd and reopen them now on April the 3rd. That said, all of the essential parts operations will be ongoing. And the one thing, I think I talked to you earlier about, we learned a lot in the tsunami in 2011. Yeah. In 2011, my example was the metal flake paint. The metal flake that goes into paint, and in 2011, there was one supplier in the friggin' world, and it was in Japan. And in 30 seconds, not only did the plant disappear, everybody knew how to make metal flake paint disappeared. The plans all disappeared, and it wasn't just a Toyota thing. It was everybody in the world that used, metal flake paint. So we learned from that, from a distribution, to have backup supplies and sources. We also learned that, of course, now a lot of plans are in the cloud. So if something happens, the machine tools and others can be recreated. But we also have backup suppliers on almost every part. Now for Toyota, we're really fortunate in that the bulk of our collision parts come from North America and from Japan. And so far we have seen no disruption in any supplies there. And we've been blessed to have OE parts available for almost all the repairs.
That's excellent. I think that's a comforting news for a lot of the shops out there. So considering these plant closures, should the Toyota certified shops expect any other kind of genuine part delays that may be coming out of this, not just in the short term, but in the long term? And I know I'm asking you looking a crystal ball here, but what does the longer term look like for that?
Well, the vision we have today, and as Eric says, that could change 10 minutes from now.
Right.
We're sitting pretty good. I'm not saying there's not going to be anything. We have, vehicles that are made in Europe, and for instance, the one that's built in Turkey might have a problem, but right now we have no problem with any parts on any vehicles, and don't foresee anything in the foreseeable future.
Gotcha. No, I think that's very helpful, George, and thank you for that. I do have a question I think that would be on a lot of shops' minds, and Bob, this might be directed at you, but when it comes down to the initial or even the recertification, of these shops and those consultations, I know some of them have been canceled. What are you seeing out there? What are the effects, and what are you guys doing about that on your end?
Well, thanks, Ryan. It's going to be pretty short term for us. So there's been a couple of cancellations, obviously, as this initially rolled out. We canceled one new certification. We'll be rescheduling that. So from a new certification perspective, there hasn't been too much of a impact. From a recertification perspective, we're starting to juggle and move away from air travel. And so you'll see us starting to pull some of you who had visits later in the year will be pulled forward a little bit in the near term, because we're going to have our consulting team drive to the locations and try to avoid aircraft. And so with that in mind, you're going to see a restructuring, if you will, or juggling of when you'll normally see your visit. And we hope that just impacts some of you over the next few months, but just be aware that we'll be coordinating with you to maybe pull some of you forward. And so and some of you that we have to fly to, we'll probably push you back, and you'll see that those visits probably move into the third and fourth quarter.
I love it. So what you're seeing is you're putting more vehicles on the road, which increases accident frequency. So you're helping the shops in many different.
That's the idea, and we're going to keep the speed and drink while driving if possible.
There you go. I love it. No, that's perfect, Bob. So thank you for that. Maybe Mike, I can address a question to you. Obviously, there's been a lot of training classes that have been canceled. What are you seeing as the effects out there on that side of things, and what can we expect from Toyota on that front?
Yeah, that's correct. So all instructor-led classes for technicians, estimators, and managers have been canceled through April. So that being said, we request that class participants cancel travel arrangements for these classes and register for future classes starting in May or later at no charge. We also request that class participants refrain from booking any travel arrangements until 1 month before the scheduled class in case of any further cancellations that we might expect. And also, we will take the class cancellations into consideration when evaluating the training status at the recertification visits.
Gotcha. Okay, no, I think that's helpful. Is there any other changes relating to the training piece that you'd like to share with the Toyota certified shops?
Yes, so for all online classes and for instructor-led manager estimator classes, we have officially migrated to a new learning management system called the Learning Center. So any Collision Center staff member with a SPIN ID can register themselves for a class in the Learning Center, and all Collision Center managers with the correct dealer job code and staff master have the ability to register a member of their team for a class using the Learning Center. And for your reference, we've included instruction guides on how to register for classes attached to this email.
Awesome. I think that's great. And yeah, we'll put some of that in the reference material as this message gets out to the shop. So Mike, thank you very much for that. Maybe Eric, just a question for you. How can these Toyota certified shops adjust their process? Give me a break on that one. I'm sorry, guys. But, what can they do now, relating to business and just keeping things rolling? What are you seeing out there? What are you hearing? What would be helpful for the shops to hear?
Yeah, Ryan, I appreciate you asking. I know a lot of you shops are dealing with changes that I'm not even aware of at this point. But one that we have been made aware of is that some insurance companies have stopped putting their adjusters on the road. They're not sending adjusters to shops anymore to respect the social distancing requests that have been put out there, or mandates in some cases that have been put out there. And I think that's an opportunity for us to pivot. So if estimators aren't coming out and insurance companies are asking to take care of the estimate, help with photo estimates yourselves, That's a suggestion that I'd like to make to all of you certified collision centers out there is adapt, help out, help the situation, take the photo estimates and help the carrier so that you can keep that repair rolling rather than delaying it and being resistant in this difficult time for everybody. Adapt, help out, be a part of the solution, not a contribution to the problem. Hey, Ryan, if I could, as our marketing instructor of the B0040 Crushing It in Digital World class, I'd like to ask you a question that I think would help our certified collision centers. Is that okay?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you. So what suggestions do you have for certified collision centers regarding how they may want to market themselves under today's world?
Yeah, we've had a lot of discussions around this. Obviously, there's been a lot of, the landscape has changed. I tell my shops that the battlefield has changed. You know, it's no longer get the keys from the customer standing in your office. They're now virtual. You're seeing the insurance companies putting a big push on being able to virtually deal with their customers, whether it's you know, through photo estimating, whether it's through communication such as texting and email and all these different channels. So we're seeing a lot of change rapidly. And so what I'm suggesting, and what we'll do is we'll end up sending out marketing materials that you guys can utilize. Things like working with your existing customers. We know that it's 70 times more expensive to go out and try and acquire a new customer than it is to just re-engage a past one. So you all, especially in the Toyota Certified Shop Network, you all have big lists of customers. We're going to go ahead and get you some ideas for reaching those existing customers and using this time to bring them in first through things like urgency and scarcity and a lot of the human triggers that'll pull those people in. So we'll be supplying some of those materials for free for you guys. The photo estimating piece, one of the things we made an announcement at the beginning of this week, shops that have our communication platform that allow people to deal with customers virtually through texting and AI to answer the phone, all those different things that is part of our platform, we've decided to give photo estimating away for free forever. Because of the coronavirus. So if you're a shop that needs to have that element to deal with customers virtually, we're going to make a big step in that direction to help shops. Service drives. Service drives are a phenomenal way. We know that 42% of the vehicles that go through a service drive have some degree of damage. That's a great area to go ahead and start tapping into that. And so we're going to be sharing strategies to help you mine that work out of there a little better. And then even guys, reach out to your sales team and say, look, while things have slowed down, let's get our own fleet. Let's do reconditioning rather than using, you know, these little bumper spray paint blending guys that a lot of these dealers have been using. Let's go ahead and start using our own body shop internally, keep our work internally, and get our own fleet reconditioned. So we'll be sharing a lot of tips and things over the next week or two that will help to, you know, kind of smooth that what's anticipated as a slowdown in work. So I hope that helps. Does that answer your question, Eric?
Yeah, thank you.
Kind of, you know, just in closing, guys, I'd like to go through and just, you know, from your perspective, what are some things that would be helpful for shops in this time? I know it's a fluid state; things change by the hour. But what are things that you think would be helpful, or that you could share with the shops? And maybe I'll go ahead and Mike, I'll start with you, Mike Rice. If you have a thought or two that would be helpful for the shops.
Sure. So I would just say to use this time to evaluate and improve any of your internal processes, whether it's in the office or on the shop floor, so that when the business does pick up, your team will be more productive than ever.
Love it. That's a great suggestion. How about you, Mitch? Is there anything that you'd like to share with the viewers?
No, I would just say really keep the customer mindset first in this time. You know, above all, you know, we'll all get through this together, and above all, we're out there to serve customers, and just keep their mindset first.
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion, and it's awesome to see how this industry pulls together in times of adversity. So great advice. How about you, Bob? What would you like to share with the viewers?
Well, just kind of a continue with the sharpen the saw mentality again. Develop your staff, right? Good team members aren't born; they're developed, right? And sometimes we forget that, and really work on them every way you can. Role play with your CSRs and your service advisors, your estimators on you know, word tracks for handling, working with insurance companies and customers. Again, the online training we talked about earlier. Also focus on your facility. You know, a lot of your facilities we've been in need a little bit of cleaning up, right? Now's a good time. You know, power wash those walls, get some paint on it, get some elbow grease. right? Let's go ahead and get these places looking good, and then focus on profitability, right? If you haven't already run a detail on every expense account that you're responsible for, do it now and understand everything that's being charged to your department. Know what goes in there, know what you can control, know what you can manage, and make sure you're prepared to maximize profitability of your operation coming out of this little downturn.
So would you say, maybe going through your accounts receivables and unclosed estimates, things like that, trying to get that stuff settled up, things along those lines as well?
Oh yeah, needless to say, anything any loose ends you've got out there, AR, certainly make sure you're all over getting that collected. And any open ROs, et cetera, estimates, to your point, Ryan, absolutely take care of that.
Some brilliant advice. Thank you very much. Eric, I'll chat with you for a sec here. What would you like to share with the shops that are watching this? Some closing out helpful things.
Yeah, with all you managers that are watching, I'd suggest that you take a minute each morning to reflect on your responsibility as a manager, and know that your team is watching you to understand how they should be reacting, and take that responsibility to bring a positive attitude to every day. Show even if you don't feel that your team that things are going to be okay, and take actions to reinforce that with them, like giving them action plans to go and complete that training, and say, hey, you may not have a car, but take a few minutes, take an hour to go and do this training module. And you're done with that one, come check in with me, right? Let them know that everything's okay. We're going to make it through this together. And I also want you all to know that we're here for you. Use this opportunity to pick up the phone and give me a call, give George a call, give anyone on our team, or give your region representative a call to ask them a question that's been on your mind. I can tell you that our technical training team, while they've canceled classes, they're using this opportunity to brush up on crib bulletins. So all the collision repair information bulletins that are a little bit outdated or that were pulled down, they're looking at those. I've already seen a couple of them come across my desk for review. So that's an example of what we're doing here, shifting that workload from training classes to doing something that's been a lower priority. I want you to do the same. And again, I'm here in my wife's craft room, ready to answer your phone calls. You think possibly that maybe we'd have a reduced workload during this time when we can't get into our office, but it's actually kind of the opposite. So, well, I'd like to say that
So hold on, you're not scrapbooking? Is that what you're
I'm not scrapbooking, but if I wanted to, I've got all the resources within arm's reach. I could pull together a beautiful scrapbook for you in a heartbeat, right? So I may not be able to answer your call on the first ring as you'd expect, but I will certainly make time as always to answer your call here from Amber's scrap room, scrapbook room.
That's perfect. Thank you for sharing, George. I'm going to come to you next, but one of the things I often look at is in these times of uncertainty, in these times of troubled waters, a lot of people look to leadership. And I have to applaud each one of you for taking the time to take that leadership role. It's funny, and George, I'll have you add to this because I know you'll have some great closing out comments, but I was talking to a gentleman the other day, and he was saying, I was on a boat one time and the seas were insanely rough. And the captain seemed calm and controlled, and somebody yelled at the captain, "Why aren't you praying?" And he says, "You know what? I pray when the seas are calm, and I drive the boat when the seas are rough." And man, that's a pretty interesting saying. So I really appreciate the calmness that you guys have. And George, maybe you can add to from a manager's perspective, from the people who are watching this, from the leaders in our community. What advice do you have? Obviously, you guys look like that calm captain right now, and you're steering the ship, and I'm glad to see that. But what advice do you have, George, to kind of wrap this thing up for us?
So I think this is when the Toyota culture takes over. Everything about the Toyota culture is respect for people, constantly improving, Kaizen. We, go look, go see, all the different things that are in the Toyota principles of business. this time, is made for Toyota. We always laugh that the only time we're able to increase our market share is when there's a friggin' recession, right? And we do our best when the seas are the choppiest.
Right.
And I will tell you that the customer are going to want the best shops to fix their cars. And we've made a really concerted effort in the last 3 years to make sure our certified network, we thought it was good. I think we're pretty close to great now. And everybody that's out there should be very proud of the effort they've made to do the training, to have the right tools, to have the right equipment, and to get on board with Toyota Certified in our 24th year of operation. Pretty amazing. So, I think that our team will stand behind you. And the other thing I would say from a shop standpoint, I want you to focus on your families first. And when your families are all good and taken care of, then I want you to focus on the Toyota customer. Then I want you to focus on the shop associates and team members. And, I think that this is one where a little bit of effort to take care of somebody else's needs pays off bountifully. As managers, I would ask you, walk around your shop. Look at what you're subletting that you maybe don't need to sublet. Is now the time that you need to think about getting in the glass business? There's a reason why that a lot of people do glass is because there's money to be made. Look at your shop. Do you have a bay that can be reconfigured to be recalibration? What better time to do that? And we've got a great recalibration class when it reopens to make sure your people are perfectly trained to do that. And then you're also pulling in mechanical rates, not collision rates on labor. So, and recalibration is going to be the future. It's not the past.
Right.
So, this is a great time to prepare your shop for the future. But I would tell everybody out there, the most thing I want you to do, take care of your families. Do not take any risk. Business will be there. The great thing about if a car's in a collision, whether we fix it tomorrow, we fix it a week from tomorrow, we still got to fix it. So don't take any unnecessary risk. And everybody, if we can do anything to support you, please reach out.
Guys, I learned a lot just from being on this call with you guys. And I want to congratulate you on, being the leaders of the industry. And this is the what you exhibited today shows everybody that you care in a great way, and you're there for them through this uncertain time. So thank you very much, every one of you, for taking the time to update us at the shop level, and we'll look forward for future updates as well. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you very much, Ryan.
Thanks for helping us get the word out there to our shops.